About 15 years ago, we started being told that tardies were important in school. They were so important that schools started creating things like tardy parties and tardy sweeps and tardy roundups. I realized tardies are not important in schools. Being in class on time learning is what's important in schools. But we spend so much time not focusing on what's important that we had to create a system of tardies. But the problem with tardies is the student who might be a minute late to class doesn't just get to stay in class. They have to go to a tardy station somewhere else in the building and stand in line with the 20 or 30 or sometimes 50 other students who are also a minute late. And they have to have a pass printed out for them. The problem with it is the student who was a minute late is now 5 and 10 minutes late because they're having to stand in that line. And then when the student accumulates multiple tardies, we take them out of class and we put them in an in-school suspension. But I thought the reason we were recording tardies were because we wanted them in class. That doesn't make sense. If we can go back to focusing on what's important, having students in class learning, then we don't have to worry about what's not important. What percentage of your students do you think are tardy on a regular basis? Now, I'm not talking about those kids that drop their books in the hallway and it takes time for them to pick everything up. I'm not talking about those students that get stopped in the hallway by a teacher to pull up their pants or to take off their hat or to fix the midriff or any other mundane disciplinary reasons. I'm not even talking about those students whose digestive tract didn't sit too well with that day's lunchroom steak fingers. I'm talking about the percentage of students who were intentionally tardy to class on a regular basis. What do you think, 30%? Higher, 50%? Yeah? I can tell you right now, I can stand in your hallway for one passing period. I don't have to look at any discipline records, I don't have to look at any attendance records, I don't have to look at any PEIMS records. One period in the hallway between a passing period, and I can tell you that you have around 4% of students who are tardy on a regular basis intentionally. 4%. But that means there are 96% of the students sitting in class on time, ready to learn. But for some reason in schools, we've decided that the 4% are more deserving of our attention than are the 96% who aren't tardy. And people will always ask the same question, why are all the students tardy? Well, I can tell you why the students are tardy. The students are tardy because they got to class after the bell rang. No, I'm serious, that's the answer. I used to ask students all the time, why are you tardy? And they would tell me, because the bell already rang. And you know what? They weren't lying. That's the reason. But that was my fault because I was asking them the wrong question. What I should have been asking them is, why is it not important to you to be in class on time? And when you ask that question, you get a whole new group of answers. The answer to the question is, whatever's going on in the hallway is more important to them than what's going on inside the classroom. And we have to change that perception if we want to find a solution to the problem. I know that by telling students there's a grade attached to your attendance, that should be enough. But it's not. I know that telling students this is going to be attached to your permanent record, whatever that thing is, that should be enough. But it's not. Let me bring it home. Do you think professional development sessions in a school are important? Some of you would say yes, some of you would disagree. How many people did we see walk into this arena after I started talking? I wasn't standing at the door counting, but I'm willing to bet that it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 4%. And if being on time isn't important to us as educational professionals, how can we expect it to be important to a 15-year-old?